You don't need to have a reason to save. Just do it and you'll end up thanking yourself later. But at some point, you're not going to need to save as much or really anything anymore. And that's what we're going to explore today is when it's actually time to stop saving for retirement. Because yes, saving too little is a problem. And that's what gets a lot of the headline news. But I think what gets underaddressed is saving for too long, working too long, or saving too much. Because I think that could be just as costly if it keeps you from living the life you've been working so hard to create. Because at the end of the day, money is meant to create alignment. Money is just a tool used to buy your freedom, buy your happiness, those types of things. And so here's the real question. Where is the breaking point where saving more money no longer serves you and you could be doing something else with your life? Because retirement at its core is trading in your paycheck for freedom to do whatever you want. And so what we're going to break down in this video is where is that tipping point? Now, for a lot of people, $1 million feels like I've made it. I can now retire or I'm closer. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And don't get me wrong, hitting $1 million it's a very powerful milestone. But here's the truth. Retirement was never about achieving a number. Instead, achieving $1 million is giving yourself permission. It's a golden ticket to take a moment of pause, to reflect and ask yourself, do you want to keep working? Do you need to keep working? And this is why I stress in so many of my videos that you need to know your numbers, because retirement, it's not about achieving a specific number on a balance sheet, although things get a lot easier when you hit $1 million, but retirement is personal. It's specific, right? It's one big math equation. Generally, our portfolio kicks out somewhere around 4 to 5.5% of a distribution rate. So on $1 million, that's 40 to 55,000. Then we'll have Social Security, maybe a part-time job if we want to, rental income. And we ask ourselves, will that be enough? And if it is, then you have way more flexibility. And if it's not, that's okay, because now that we've hit this $1 million figure, the good news is, which we'll dive into in just a second with some examples, is compounding. Now at a higher number on our balance sheet does so much more of the heavy lifting than it did at 500,000 or 250. So we get our portfolio to start working for us, and that's what we're going to unpack with some math in just a moment here. One of the most overlooked investment principles is the power and the impact of compound investing. In fact, Einstein referred to this principle as the eighth wonder of the world. Now, for most people, myself included, we're wired to think in terms of simple and basic math, 100 plus 100. But when it comes to exponentially solving for problems or compounding interest, and you ask me, hey, what's an 8% return on $100,000 for 15 years? You've lost me. I need to get my trusted calculator out. And so what I want to walk you through, because of the way we're just designed to think, is an example of the power of compounding interest and the role that it plays in your retirement as your assets continue to grow. You see, in your early years, just say in this example, maybe you're fortunate enough to save $10,000 a year, and you do this for a number of years. Well, in your first year, let's say you earn a modest return, 7%. 10,000 of your own, 700 from growth. Pretty simple. And after 10 years of doing this, 7% return, $10,000 a year, you now have $136,000. 100,000 from your contributions, 36,000 of growth. Snowball gets bigger. And after 20 years of doing this again and again and again, we now have over $400,000, half from our contributions, half from investment growth. And at 30 years, the scale has tipped, where it's now 1/3 of our contributions, 2/3 growth. And at 30 years, we have $950,000 using that same math. And this is where the crossover point occurs. And I really want to highlight is, you see, in that 29th year, we're making over $60,000 of growth. We're going from 890,000 at a 7% return to 950,000. And it's at that point, your money's now working harder than you are. It raises a really important question, which is, if your money's working harder for you, then why are you still working? Sure, you're going to have a bigger balance, but the point of retirement is to hit the stop button and trade in your paycheck for your freedom. Everything in life comes with an opportunity cost. And rather than just looking at it from a financial perspective, I want to look at it from an intangible perspective from life, which is there's an opportunity cost for every extra year you work is another one you could have otherwise spent traveling, making time and memories with friends and family, your kids, grandkids, and enjoying the simplicity of life that you've been working so hard for. And so at what point does that opportunity cost of working and saving more outweigh the benefit of building your account higher and higher and higher? Because too often we think retirement is it's a magic age, 65, or a magic number, $1 million, but it's not the reality. Retirement, it's a mindset shift. It's personal. Again, remember, we're trading our paycheck for our freedom. And the purpose of saving and investing is not to hoard our money. It's for future spending. That's why you started it in the first place. You're buying future years of freedom, which means at some point, you're going to have to stop saving and start living. And I understand that can be a really scary transition. When is it time to stop working? The first one is you're financially independent and you're ready to. If you've already hit your number and saving another $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year isn't going to move the needle, congratulations, you're ready to retire. And the beautiful thing here is, as I've mentioned before, retirement, it's a blank canvas. It can look however you want it to look. And so if you want to continue to work, maybe you reduce your hours. Instead of saving more for retirement, you now spend more. You turn off those contributions. I know it sounds crazy, but again, it's personal. And so if the numbers work, you're financially independent, you now give yourself that permission. The second one, very similarly, if we've already achieved a number on our balance sheet, call it $1 million, $1.5 million, and we know over the next 5, 10, 15 years, however many years we are away from retirement, if that growth is going to get us there from the power that we explained earlier of compounding, well, similar to the first principle, we're financially independent. We can take those contributions, dial them down a little bit, and give ourselves more breathing room to semi-retire, to continue to work, but not use those contributions nearly as much to now create more memories, take more unpaid time off, create experiences, whatever that may be. The third one is that if we don't want to leave the biggest legacy, but instead we want to think of legacy in terms of memories here and now, we could start dialing back some of our contributions. If the numbers work and we've hit our numbers and our goal, we can start having an early retirement. We can start saving less, spending more. Again, the numbers have to work, but once we figure it out that we've got there, this is what it starts to look like. And then the last one is, if the tax benefits just aren't really there and they don't move the needle, then we don't really need to make the contributions maybe nearly as much. Now, in all of this, the one thing that we're trying to avoid is having any type of regret, because we could always work an extra year. We could always save more, but we can't go back in time. We can't go to our grandson's first baseball game. We can't go on that family trip that we missed because we had to work more. Again, we could always save more. And so when regret starts creeping in, that's a sure sign that it's time to retire. Again, retirement, it's a blank canvas. It's flexible. It's personable to you. These are some of the signs that it's time to stop saving as much. You've hit your goal. Now go spend it. Go live it. Go create the memories. And so once you reach that $1 million figure, a 10% gain is literally a $100,000 payday, and it only gets better from there. And so what I want to challenge you with is, instead of pushing more money into savings, we've gone back to our examples. If we've hit some of those milestones, let your portfolio grow on its own. Use that extra would-be contribution to go live a more rich and fulfilled life. Maybe you still enjoy working, but rather than slaving away and putting in more money into your retirement, for what? Use it to create the memories and the experiences today. Call it a semi-retirement. Treat yourself, because that's the beauty of making retirement your own. And so now that you understand the impact and that surprising trajectory that unfolds after you're reaching these bigger dollar amounts, and how you can use that information to transform, to modify your own retirement savings approach, what I want you to do is, if you have questions and you're looking for more help, click on the link in the description below, fill out the survey. We're going to ask you a series of questions about your retirement figures, and we'll make you a personalized Loom video walking you through how to arrive at answers to questions about your retirement, and exactly how to focus on these core elements to make retirement your own. And so as we wrap up, let us remember what retirement really is all about. It's not a number on a balance sheet that we have to achieve. It's not an age like 65 that's hard and clear cut. Rather, it's about creating alignment. It's knowing when compounding is enough in your own specific plan and getting out of the way and letting it do its job, and when it's time to stop saving and start living. That's what we're after here. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.